Hey everyone, Gale Network here, and thank you for tuning into this video. But before I get in too deep, I gotta say, it's a little bit different than some of my normal video game coverage because even though, yes, I am discussing a title that I'm passionate about, which is Star Fox and the future of the series, the intention of this is a little bit different. It's because I saw that good friend of mine, Andres Restart, whom if you haven't already followed, go on YouTube and on X and follow Andres Restart. He is putting together a video discussing the ideas he's got for a future Star Fox title. And me being so passionate about the Star Fox series, I mean, I still play with my R-Wing all the time and fly around with it and stuff like that. I thought maybe I could contribute in some way. So I've shared this before in different podcasts and whatnot, but I don't know if I've put my thoughts together in a designated video. So maybe you will see this in part on Andres' channel or maybe on mine, but maybe he will like some of the information. So Andres, however you are watching this and wishing to interpret or use, you are more than welcome to, man. So thanks for being cool and hearing me out. So I think that in order for Star Fox to succeed, Nintendo has to switch gears on how it's presented. I would pay $60 easy, no problem, for just a futuristic next generation Star Fox title on the Nintendo Switch successor, something that falls in line with the lineage of Star Fox 64, Star Fox Assault, Star Fox Command, right? Star Fox Zero, which is kind of a reimagining of Star Fox 64, which is kind of a remake of Star Fox. So I wouldn't mind just one more game that's a little bit forward in the series, an on-rails shooter, some all-range mode missions, and that's it. But I think the way that the world is now and games giving you more bang for your buck, Nintendo has to do something a little bit different. And here is the best idea that I've got. Number one, take a page out of Insomniac Games' book and somewhat emulate Ratchet and Clank. Specifically, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, I thought we had the best control yet of Ratchet and Rivet. And I would like to see Fox on land in a kind of a story-driven mode, taking place in part of this new Star Fox game that I'm thinking of, kind of like that character. You've got so much story to explore, so many characters, a galaxy full of these animal-like humanoids that talk and interact with one another. But Fox McCloud can move very differently. We've seen that he's one of the fastest characters in Super Smash Brothers. So imagine something more akin to Ninja Gaiden or Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, Dante, right? And in how Fox McCloud would move. He's got dashes. He could punch and kick. He's got quick close quarter combat situations. He could have melees, his blaster, a shield, a smoke bomb to kind of teleport-ish in and out of scenarios. And that would be his gameplay style. Quick run, and then a faster run, a dash. Hopping from side to side, doing flips, doing front flips and back flips. I'm not thinking entirely like Star Fox Adventures, where that was more of a, here's Fox in what could have been a Legend of Zelda game, but something a little bit faster to portray how would he move, Third-person perspective, action game, heavy on the story, and you wouldn't just be doing that, though, because then you're like, but then that's not Star Fox, right? It's using the Star Fox IP, but it's not that aerial combat that we love. However, when you would go from city to city or have to go from planet to planet or have a mission that is past the city and rescuing someone in the middle of a volcano or something like that, or you've got to get out of a situation quickly, you would hop into your R-Wing, which, by the way, this R-Wing is from First Four Figures. I love this. I love this statue so much. It normally sits on a base, by the way. I just took the base off because I knew I was going to make this video. And you got the G diffuser right there in the back, and it lights up like a purplish blue. Just a beautiful thing. But you would hop into R-Wing. It would come to you, and you would take off, and then would begin your aerial combat mode. So the game would have a very alive feeling of going back and forth between your on-foot combat and your in the R-Wing first-person or third-person combat, traversing in several minute-long missions to get to the destination. Maybe you'd be going off-planet, and it would be something kind of like Starlink, which I think did a really good job made by Ubisoft several years ago on all three consoles. But that Nintendo Switch version was the most special to me because they implemented the R-Wing and the Star Fox characters so well into it. But imagine you're playing around on land and you get a distress call or something like that. Maybe it's Crystal, maybe it's Slippy, someone needs help, or just off planet, and you call the R-Wing, it comes down, and you go off, and you're soaring into outer space. Maybe you have to dock inside of the Great Fox. Maybe the Great Fox serves as this aerial command center, and you could run around in the Great Fox, kind of like in that 15-minute or so anime that we got that came parallel to Star Fox Zero on Wii U, back in the early 2010s. I think that would be neat to go around the ship, and then that ship could maybe dictate what kind of mission do you want next. Do you want to go to, here is a designated land-based mission. Here is a flight mission. Here is an opportunity to just go out there and train. Maybe you pick one of the other characters in this particular mode where you take on Slippy, Peppy, Fox, or Falco. You go in the landing bay, the docking bay of the R-Wings, and you get to fly around the Great Fox. And there you could compete in little mini games or build up, points for your ship, shoot down meteors, that kind of thing, something local. Maybe once in a while the story would have a segment where, bad guys are attacking the Great Fox, such as Starwolf or somebody else, right? And you would have to leave the ship. Maybe they could have this kind of play where you're on a mission and then you have to decide whether you're completing the mission or going back because the Great Fox is in need of help. But I think this duality of on-foot, quick action combat and aerial combat would be just magnificent. And I could see kind of an RPG-like development in powers along the way. So as you punch and kick more with Fox, if that is how you are attacking enemies on land, you are getting some points. Imagine a circle right here being your health, and you're getting like a little bit of boop, boop, boop. Like 3 little circles around it, and those circles are building up in stats, like level 1, 2, 3, 4, and how formidable that movement is. So you're unlocking new punching, new kicking techniques, new martial arts-esque movements because you are using Fox's fighting more regularly. So that's sort of building up, and you're unlocking new combos. Or you're using the blaster more often. And by using that more often, okay, his blaster is going from a 1-shot to a 2-shot to a 3-shot to a different colored beam, kind of like how the R-Wing goes from a green laser to a double green laser to the hyper laser, which is blue. So imagine if you are leveling up your blaster shots. If you're playing a little bit more defensively, maybe your throws are improving and your ability to dodge and evade and have a quick attack back. But that would increase your shield power, So you've got like these little circles that are going around your overall health, and I think that would be kind of a neat thing. Or if you are very used to calling for backup, maybe your backup meter would go up. And what do I mean by backup? Maybe there's a button that you could push, and you could quickly, click in the stick or something like that, or a little bit of a scroll wheel, and select between Peppy, Slippy, and Falco on the fly. And they could teleport beam down and join you. So maybe that meter goes up where, okay, you rely on the help of others more, and maybe you have a little bit of a greater tie with Peppy or with Slippy or with Falco. So it's that relationship going up and some tag team, moves in there. And that could then apply to what happens when you are on a mission and flying. You may ask for Falco, but if you never interacted with Falco on land missions, Falco's going to be less likely to join you, in air. So it could be like, do I want to please all 3 of them? 33, 33, 33, so you have a good chance with all 3? Or do you just want to be really powerful with Peppy? but at the risk of kind of hurting Slippy's feelings or Falco's feelings, so they don't help you as often. I'm thinking of different games and how I'm playing with this, and like one of the things that comes to mind, if you're familiar with Capcom versus SNK2, you could play as one character with a level 4 power, behind him or her, or two level 2 characters that are, 2 and 2, because that equals 4, or two characters that are level 3 and 1, so the 1's kind of weak, the 3 is pretty strong, but not quite as strong as this one character that's a level 4. Or you could play as 3 characters, like someone who's a 2, someone who's a 1, someone who's a 1 against the 4. If you're not familiar, check it out. So that's kind of what I'm thinking along the lines of this Peppy, Slippy, Falco relationship kind of thing, and how powerful of a relationship you build is how strong that character is when they interact with you. And that's kind of like the gist of my idea when it comes to on-foot, heavy story, fast action gameplay to convey Fox's movements, being able to tag in some characters, having melee, having defense, having your shields and having your lasers. And then, those lasers and those guns could be quite cool because they could upgrade to, scatter shot and maybe a missile and maybe a trap that you throw out, or maybe the trap is, an additional item that you get regardless of the play style that you do. And you don't have to necessarily pick just this one. You could pick from, any movement at any time. It's just the more well-balanced you are, probably the better Fox you're going to be. And I think that Nintendo has such an awesome opportunity with the Star Fox franchise because these characters are so cool. We love them so much that it's really Nintendo's Guardians of the Galaxy. They just need to tap into it for the modern era. They need to show people why they are so cool, because from there, you've got a movie. From there, you've got figurines and toys and another amiibo line, and you've got a future you got a future partnership with First Four Figures to make more of these. And I think there's still room for stuff like Landmaster Tank missions to be in this new Star Fox game, Blue Marine missions to still be in it, the Chicken Walker possibly. I could see an online, I'm hoping for this, an online 4-player story-based cooperative game, or at least in the terms of the online, in the terms of the aerial combat missions, you could play those, maybe like a la carte. So whether the game could allow you potentially to play through the whole experience with all 4, maybe or maybe not. But for the aerial missions that actually have 4 in it, let somebody else hop in and join. Like, that would be so cool to have, 4 R-Wings, 2 or 3 R-Wings moving together, or a mission that has a planet with a surface, 1 R-Wing and 1 Landmaster Tank, R-Wing Landmaster Tank going side to side, 2 Blue Marines going side by side. Like, the possibilities are so awesome. It's just such a fun idea. Online versus mode, another easy thing to incorporate. And there I think you have the chance to have, far more than 4. Maybe you're looking at like, 16 or something like that. And you've got, defend the Great Fox, or 2 different Great Foxes to defend at the same time. And you have a team of 8 versus a team of 8. And you pick either, the good guys or the bad guys, or you're all neutrally good, kind of like how Splatoon handles it, and the other team just gets called bad, and you have to destroy each other's, Great Fox. And so do you play defense and protect your Great Fox, or do you take the offense, or do you meet somewhere in between? Like, that's a cool idea for a versus mode. Or maybe it's, kind of like in Star Fox 64, where you've got a closed quarter situation, and you could play as the Landmaster Tank, or in the R-Wing, or a couple of the different, ships that you have the opportunity to play. Gosh, these are just some of my ideas that I've had in my head for a long time, that I've shared on different podcasts and live streams. But when I saw, Andres, you saying in your community poll, what should I make a video on next? And the majority was Star Fox, which is what I voted for, and that you were willing to say, heck yeah, I want to hear what you're talking about. Dude, like, I've got a lot to talk about on Star Fox. I mentioned the movie, but I think what should happen first is an animated series that would run parallel or slightly before the release of this new video game. So let's say a year or so into Nintendo Switch 2's life, for the marketing campaign, let's call it an 8-episode series, maybe 6 weeks-ish before, something like that, before this new Star Fox games come out. Star Fox game comes out. Nintendo and Netflix or some other partner, which, by the way, we were supposed to have that Netflix, claymation or puppeteering or animated or some type of Star Fox series, quite some years ago. Maybe that could come back, or with a different streaming platform. But several weeks before the game would come out, this animated series would drop in whatever type of animation they use to build up the hype, make it good quality, put a decent budget into it, have as many voice actors, actresses that can possibly return, and release the game and have a good push and have this single-player story mode, these online missions, this 4-player traverse through the levels combat. And I think you could satisfy many people with this one if you, or once you, beat the story mode. You could then just pick up and play the single missions that you would like to, because you've unlocked them kind of like in an arcade mode, and play through them sequentially as you did previous Star Fox games. I want to play this mission, 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 this mission. Okay, these 8 main, or at least some of the 8 potential in a given course, a given level of difficulty, light, medium, hard, from beginning to end, and I just want to fly. And then you'd have your replay value there. Then that would satisfy and go for the high score and go for the leaderboards. And the leaderboards could have, online rankings. And they could do a lot with that. If Nintendo has any kind of amiibo system, which is kind of what I'm calling the equivalent of like the trophies for PlayStation or the achievements for Xbox. I think the achievement system, the trophy system, the amiibo system in general on the Nintendo side of things could be structured a little bit differently in how you acquire them. But once you do, you get a digital room. And in your digital room, locked into your Nintendo Switch 2, is a little amiibo or a poster or something on the wall. Like, if you play the game, you get a poster. If you've beaten the game, you get a little amiibo, and you got to put it on your desk, on your wall, on your shelf, or something like that. And your friends list that are a part of your Nintendo Switch Online, Nintendo Switch 2 ecosystem's worth of friends can visit. So you can visit each other's playrooms, maybe bringing back the Miis or something like that. Maybe certain achievements that you unlock in the amiibo system is a t-shirt. And there you get like a t-shirt of that game. And maybe that goes into third-party stuff, like with Street Fighter or the next Mario, and like it's a Mario shirt. But I think that would be a really cool, what would they call it though? What they call like the superstars? The star system? Star ranking? Nintendo stars, something like that. Yeah, maybe the Nintendo stars, and then you could get like a digital amiibo, a poster, a T-shirt, and that could be the three tiers. So it's a little bit different than what PlayStation and Xbox does, but Nintendo is different in the first place, anyways. Andres, if you're still watching this, his community, if you're watching this, my community, if you're watching this. I'm kind of derailing because I'm given the opportunity to talk with somebody kind of about something that I love. And like, I'm so passionate about the Star Fox franchise. I want it to succeed so badly. And it's so weird because Star Fox, for me, is one of my favorite IP. And there's really only been a handful of games. Like, I say that Mario is one of my favorites, as is Zelda and Street Fighter. Like, those are my 3 favorite video game franchises. But it also makes sense because over the decades, they've had so many entries. And here, Star Fox has only had several, yet they've left me with such a big impact that, Star Fox is one of my tops. And I think that it could be such a bigger, better seller. It could be a real pillar for Nintendo. I mean, a Star Fox ride at an amusement park would be sweet. where you're in an R-wing and they've got the lights and the movement and stuff like that, and barrel roll, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's epic, man. Um, and a major motion picture to come, like after the hype of this Star Fox game, maybe the scroll wheels with this L&R thing could be the future of how to do a barrel roll. Maybe if the analog stick, which is this is my thought of how could the new controller be different. Maybe the analog stick has uh, a resistance to it that's either magnetic or spring loaded, or maybe that's part of the whole system's gimmick, is like these magnetic resistant, you know, switches, pieces that snap together, or springs and all that stuff. And I've always thought, gosh, the analog stick, I remember back to Super Mario 64 playing it for the first time, tiptoeing as Mario. But what if the new analog stick could have this resistance, like where if Mario is walking through molasses, it's kind of hard to push that analog stick. Like if he's literally walking through, honeycombs and honey and molasses, or if he's walking on ice, it's like the analog stick is fidgeting back and forth and stuff like that. And here in the R-Wing, pushing forward, going down against turbulence, having the analog stick have some kind of vibrational feedback in it too. So if you're blocking too long, the analog stick shakes, and maybe it shakes out of your thumb or something like that on the on ground missions, right? Or they improve HD rumble, so you're feeling a little bit more from the right side of your R-Wing as you're getting hit, or from the left side of the R-Wing as you're getting hit. Like, there's so much cool stuff that you could do. Part of it is, theoretical talk. That's what I'm doing right now. And part of it is based off of the idea or the hints or suggestions that this controller is going to have a little bit of this or that. So some of this is wishful thinking. Heck, it all is. But some of it's based in some sense of reality. But yeah. So now, Andres, do with this as you will. Gosh, I've been talking for 22 minutes, but it doesn't feel like that. Let me know what you thought. And yeah, if you ever want to talk live about some of these ideas, I would be happy to. All right. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to my channel. And if you are watching any fragment of this on Andres Restart's channel, then hello, and thank you to that community for also checking me out. All right. That's it for now. Let me know what you think, Andres, and everyone watching. Bye.